Today, let's talk about the life of a truly remarkable queen. A leader whose legacy wasn't just handed to her. Nope, it was forged. Forged through her character, through immense tragedy, and an absolutely unbreakable will to serve her people. Her story really challenges what we think we know about power.
And that brings us to this big question. Does greatness come from birth, or does it come from what we do? We so often assume that power is all about bloodlines, being born into the right family. But Ahilyabai's life? Well, it suggests a completely different answer.
This quote right here is the key to understanding her entire journey. It says, "Greatness comes from deeds, not birth." That was the principle that guided her from a simple village to the throne of a powerful kingdom. And it's the central theme we're going to explore today.
So, to really get how incredible her rise was, we have to start at the very beginning. And no, we're not starting in a palace. We're starting in a small village, a world away from the power she would one day command.
See, she wasn't born a princess. Ahilyabai came from a pretty humble family in a village called Chondi. Her dad was the respected village head, sure, but he was no king. Even from a young age, though, people noticed she stood out. She had this deep faith, a real kindness, and a mind that was just remarkably sharp.
And then, destiny, or maybe just pure chance, stepped in. The story goes that the powerful ruler Malhar Rao Holkar spotted her at a temple service, and what impressed him wasn't wealth or status, it was her character, her sincere devotion. He saw the qualities of a future queen in this simple village girl, and he arranged for her to marry his son, Kande Rao. Just like that, one single moment changed the course of her life forever.
But her new life in the palace, it was no fairy tale, not even close. It was actually the beginning of a series of unbelievable tragedies that would test her resolve to the absolute breaking point.
Just a few years into their marriage, the first devastating blow hit. Her husband, Kandero, was killed in battle, and suddenly she was a young widow.
And right after that, she lost her biggest supporter, the man who saw her potential and brought her into the royal family. Her father-in-law, Malhar Rao, passed away too. Then the truly unimaginable happened. Her only son, the heir to the entire kingdom, also died young. In just a few short years, she'd lost her husband, her mentor, and her child. Her entire family, gone.
Now, at that time, the pressure on a royal widow was just immense. A lot of people expected her to commit sati, the practice of self-immolation. But Ahilyabai refused. She made a choice that was, frankly, radical. She declared that her duty wasn't to follow her husband in death, but to lead her kingdom in life. She chose service over sacrifice. There's this saying that just perfectly captures her spirit. When life took away all support, she became her own support. At her absolute lowest point, having lost everyone, she found this unbreakable strength inside herself. And with it, she became the rock for an entire kingdom.
So out of the ashes of all that personal grief, a ruler was born. Her taking the throne wasn't just a political move. It was the beginning of an era of peace and prosperity that people, believe it or not, still talk about today.
For nearly 3 decades, from 1767 all the way to 1795, Ahilyabai Holkar ruled from her capital in Maheshwar. She was the one in charge, making decisions, leading the state, and making sure justice was served.
And this right here tells you everything you need to know about her rule. Her people didn't call her Your Highness or Maharani. They called her Ma Saheb, the revered mother. That title says it all, doesn't it? She didn't rule with fear. She ruled with the compassion and care of a mother protecting her family. So what did her reign actually look like? Well, her legacy is really defined by 2 major pillars: an unwavering commitment to justice and an absolutely astonishing record of building and restoring things all across India. First off, her justice system was revolutionary. She held an open court every single day where any citizen, no matter how rich or poor, could bring their problems directly to her. She didn't pass it off to someone else, she listened to the cases herself. And her judgments were famous for being fair, impartial, and rooted in a deep sense of what was right.
But her impact, wow, it was felt far beyond her own kingdom. She sponsored the rebuilding of some of India's most sacred temples, like Kashi Vishwanath and Somnath. But her vision was both spiritual and practical. She also built roads, wells, and rest houses for travelers, infrastructure that made life better for ordinary people all across the subcontinent.
And this was her guiding philosophy. To her, ruling wasn't about power or territory, it was about responsibility. She truly saw the people of her kingdom as her own family, and every single decision she made reflected that deep, personal sense of duty.
So, when you put it all together, what is the lasting impact of this incredible queen? Well, her legacy isn't just something stuck in history books. It's alive, and you can see it even today.
Her place in history is absolutely secure. Ahilyabai Holkar is consistently remembered as one of the most effective, just, and beloved rulers in India's very long history. Her reign is still held up as the gold standard for ethical leadership.
And you can really see how her influence has lasted over time. During her lifetime, she brought peace and prosperity. By the 20th century, her story had become an inspiration, a powerful symbol of what a just leader looks like. And today, her name is immortalized in public spaces, like the main airport in Indore, making sure her legacy continues to be remembered.
And so, her story leaves us with a final question. Here was a woman from a simple village who became one of India's greatest queens, all through the power of her character and her actions. And it really makes you wonder, how many other heroines like Ahilyabai are out there? Their incredible stories just waiting to be told.